Fantastic. Thanks very much. So thanks very much for coming to the To Be Healthy Zoom call for this week. So thanks very much for joining us, and thanks very much for watching back afterwards. So today's topics, we're going to be talking about Plate It and how you're getting on with Plate It, and the percentages of how much you should be eating, but also looking at things such as picky eating habits, catering for some of those needs that you have and dislikes that you have, and whether you're going to be adventurous with other foods that you want to add to your plate, and are you going to be eating enough? So this program is all about being full and satisfied. So are you eating enough? Are you not starving yourself? So that's the whole point of this, but you should still be losing weight but feeling full and satisfied. And also just touch upon temptations as well, because we know that we've all got those temptations, and it's absolutely fine, so we can allow for all of those. So anything else that you want to cover, Kirsty, today?
No, that's perfect, to be honest.
All right. Okay, fantastic. So just thought we'd talk about Plate It. So Plate It is all about understanding what's going to go on your plate throughout the day. So breakfast, lunch and dinner with snactional options as well. So how are we all getting on with our Plate It for breakfast, guys?
I tend to stick to the same thing for breakfast because it works for me. It's always busy in the morning doing the school run and work and stuff like that. So I always have a Shakeology, chocolate Shakeology with almond milk, ice. I stick a banana in. Sometimes I put a bit of peanut butter in. Depends what I'm feeling like. And for me, that's the best breakfast because I can literally have it as I'm going around the house, rushing around, but I feel like really full from it, and it just sets me up for the day. So I do tend to stick to the same breakfast. I don't know about you guys, Cassie and Jill, what do you tend to do for breakfast?
Well, I still have Shakeology, because I get up so early, and I'm still at the stage of constantly up throughout the night, so I don't really sleep for more than 5 hours at a time. So breakfast is the one thing that kind of ruins me. Well, it can either ruin me for the day or set me up for the day. So if I have a good breakfast, then I do end up having a good day. But there are days where I don't even get toast. I don't get a coffee. I literally, it'll get to about 10 a.m. and I've not had a single drink yet. And that's just because I've not put my needs first.
Yeah.
I've come downstairs, I've fed the whole family, and then I've put the baby to bed for his nap. And so it's just getting into the habit. So for me, this past week, I've had Shakeology for breakfast. Problem is with Shakeology, it fills me up for a short period, but then I'm starving again. So I've been experimenting with it. So I have coffee and toast as soon as I wake up. Because if you're the day-to-day obsession, this is what I struggled with. Well, pausing it too early, then I went too long without eating, and I was starving come mid-morning. So I have just brown toast first thing in the morning, and then an hour later I make Shakeology, and then up until lunch.
That's good, actually. That's a good way of doing it. I remember Milan actually saying that she does similar. She splits her breakfast up a little bit. So, and I think that's fine. If that works for you, especially because you are up so early, if that's going to stop you from being starving and then grabbing something that you shouldn't grab, then you found the right system for you, which is really good.
Yeah, I'm not having biscuits, which is what I used to do.
Perfect.
So.
Very good. I'm impressed with that. What about you, Jill? What do you tend to have?
I'm struggling a little bit with breakfast because I don't know if I'm eating enough at breakfast, because obviously with I know you all have the Shakeology, which I know I'm not having, and I know I can have another sort of a whey protein drink, but I don't know if that has got as much goodness in as you have, because you call your Shakeology salad on the go.
Yeah.
So I do have mornings aren't great for me for eating wise, so meaning I don't feel I can eat because I'm sort of rushing, and so I do have a piece of toast with a teaspoon of peanut butter on. I did this week start taking one of my little tubs again with some tomatoes in.
Okay.
And then maybe some Greek yogurt and maybe a bit of fruit, but I didn't have all of that this week. That sounds a lot, but I didn't eat all of that. Like, I'm talking about maybe 4 tablespoons of protein yogurt, and then a little purple with some fruit, but also some tomatoes in it this week, a couple of days. So
Yeah.
that's what I was just going to check if that was okay to do that, you know, because I know you mentioned, I didn't know if I should be eating more veg at breakfast. That was the kind of thing, you know.
So they kind of say it's veggie is an extra credit with breakfast,
Right.
meaning that you don't necessarily have to have veg with breakfast.
Right.
It's actually your choice. So I probably maybe get veg in 4 or 5 times a week. I will just and it just depends if I've got them in. I tend to pop in cherry tomatoes, and I kind of, as I'm going around the kitchen making lunch boxes, I just pop one in my mouth, and you know, by the time I'm at the end of it, I've eaten like a little tub of them. So that's what I try and do, but that is extra credit. So if veggies don't work for you for breakfast, you don't have to have them. That's the one meal you don't have to have them with.
Right. Okay.
As for the other, if you were just having one piece of brown toast, I'd say that's not enough for you. I would say have the piece of brown toast, but also have the yogurt and the fruit. You know, that's fine. You can have all of that at breakfast, and that will keep you fuller for longer. Really, it will take you through till lunchtime. So, you know, like Tack said at the beginning, and I'm sure he'll agree with me, you can undereat, and then that's kind of, you won't lose weight if you undereat, and you're hungry and you'll reach for things that you shouldn't reach for because you're not eating enough. So I wouldn't worry about all of that at breakfast. That's fine, you know, and track it, see if it works for you.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alana does a really great video on the resources tab, talking about what's going to make you full, but also what's going to keep you full as well. So a lot of the FFCs, like the brown toast, will get you full initially, but that's not going to keep you full all morning, and that's why she encourages you to have more protein in the morning. So what I tend to do is just the night before, boil 3 or 4 eggs, and then put it in a little pot, just like you get in, say, like Tesco's or Morrison's, whatever. They put like a couple of eggs and just a little bit of spinach underneath, and that's a great way for you to have some protein. And you've got a little bit of veg there as well, and you can still have that brown toast as well as part of your FFCs. And that's going to, make you full, but that's going to keep, the eggs are going to keep you full as well. And obviously, if you do feel a little bit hungry mid-morning, then, Alana does talk about grabbing like an apple, something with some fiber there, just to keep you going until lunchtime. And then, you can start looking at the next plate that you can eat from then on. So definitely try and have a little bit more if you can, because then that's going to keep you full. That's going to utilize the energy in your body to obviously do more. And that's going to fire up your metabolism for the rest of the day for to use that energy. So do try and eat a little bit more if you can, in terms of like protein.
Okay, thanks for that. Thanks.
All right.
Fantastic. So how are we doing with like lunches and dinners and things like that as well? Are we kind of like looking at the percentages? So for lunch, it's going to be 50% veggies, 25% protein, 25% FFCs, and also dinner is going to be 75% veggies and 25% protein. How are we getting on with that?
I quite like to split my lunch. I am a little bit I'm more adventurous with my dinners, but I tend to stick with what I'm quite happy with and what works for me at lunchtime. Although sometimes I can be a bit more adventurous. It depends what I'm doing in the day. If I'm at home, I may make some banana pancakes or something. But what I quite like at the moment is I have one of those cinnamon and raisin bagel thins. I quite like one of those, although my children keep stealing them, so I run out of those. And then I also have quite a bit of like veg. So I'll either have like a nice big salad with some balsamic on it, or a tiny bit of a different dressing, or I'll have like a big tub of, tomatoes are my thing at the moment. I don't know why I eat them till they come out my ears, but I have loads of tomatoes and maybe some peppers and stuff like that. And then I will then have, my habit is then to have a cup of coffee next to me while I'm doing some work with I'll have some like Greek yogurt, and then I'll just chuck a few blueberries in. That tends to be what I have for lunch, and it really fills me up and keeps me going till dinner.
Lunch is when I tell myself it's my time, because that's when the babies both nap, so that's my time. So my favorite is I don't really think percentages. For me, it's the actual physical plate. So I'll fill half the plate up with an omelette, And then the other half will just be a variety of stir-fry veg. I'm going through a spinach phase, so I'm loving my spinach. So I have both raw and cooked spinach, peppers, mushrooms. I just fill that half of the plate. And then if I'm still a bit peckish, I'll have a piece of fruit. But I tend to, that's more my dinner, because when it comes to dinner time, I eat with the family.
Yeah.
And obviously, we always have carbs, so. But I limit mine. I learned from 80 Day Obsession. So when the husband is plating his pasta, it's one big giant plate like that. I'm going, oh. And I have this little container's worth, and the rest is all veg and protein.
I like that. Very good. That sounds nice. What about you, Jill?
Lunch is like what you just said. Salads are quite good at the moment. I tend to have salads and a couple of sort of mini thin chicken fillets with it, and then I'll also use as my accessories hummus. You know, the little blue tub that we had with 80 Day Obsession.
Yeah.
And that does feel. I was just going to check while I'm talking to you all. Is that okay? That size still? I mean, I don't fill it to the top, but you know, that little blue. That's what I use as my accessory, and that's enough really over your salads. If you know, because I'm obviously at work and I'm on the go, but that's kind of what I tend to do. And this week I have changed a bit, like we talked the other week about having a little bit of carbs with my dinner rather than my lunch. Rather than at night time. And I found it okay because I've exercised this week and I haven't had. I wouldn't say I haven't missed it, because I do, because sometimes after you've exercised I have missed a bit of carbs, but I've tried to eat more veg with my tea, and then you know, obviously the plate is full more of veg with just that little bit of protein. Yeah.
That's perfect, Jill. Well done.
Yeah.
So you've made a few changes this week, which is fab.
Yeah.
And you found they work all right for you? You're all right with the exercise and everything like that?
Yeah, I haven't seen much change in the weight, but I have to admit I have had a couple of biscuits now and again this week, which I presume that is what changes my my weight. I haven't lost any, but then I haven't gained any, so I'm not unhappy with that. It's just I need to just stop it. It's just like yesterday I didn't have everything in, but I went and got a Subway salad with chicken with no dressing. But I didn't get to have it because work was too busy. So at 3:30 when I was coming home, I found something in the car and a chocolate nibble, and I ate it because I was hungry, and that's what you do. Even though I drank my water, if you don't eat, it does make a difference, doesn't? You know, it's.
Do you know what? It really, really does. Do you know what you could try and do this week? And I know it's really hard when you're working, but try and make a conscious effort to eat more if you can, and track it and see how that works for you, because you'll probably find that if you're not eating enough, that can stop your weight loss as well. That can kind of slow down.
I do feel I'm eating less than when I was doing the 80 day, but that's probably because I did have the Shakeology heart. You know, you have it at 10 o'clock and then, but I think in some senses I've got to try and fit in more veg there, which I will do. Yeah. I mean, I know it's really hard, but try and prioritise making sure that you eat enough, and it's good for you because you're important as well. I know what it's like when you're running around, you're at work and you've got the kids and everything, but it's so important for you to have something. It's your fuel. It keeps you going all day long. And you'll probably feel better for that. I mean, with the biscuits, now I am a biscuit lover, I have to admit. I tend to not buy the biscuits that I like at home for my children because then I don't eat them. But the one thing I do love, and I know that they're not the cheapest, but they are good, is the Beach Bars. They may be something to consider, because if you just kind of have one of those, if you desperately needed a snack and you're like, I need something now, if you've got it in your handbag, that would be a much better snack to have than a biscuit. That makes sense. But it will give you that kind of fix that sometimes you need, that you want. You know, I mean, I went to cricket the other night, and the guys know because I did a crawl in the middle of it, and I was there for like 5 hours. And I hadn't had my tea because I'd left early, so I knew I was going to eat really late. So I was like, right, I need to have something in between. And I took one of those bars with me, and it just kept me going in between. And the next day, you know, I think my weight had dropped a pound actually the next day. And so it didn't really have an issue with my body, but it was just maybe giving it something that filled that kind of snack
but meant that, you know, I wasn't totally going, you know, off on a tangent with something else. And because for me, I don't know about you, but if I have a biscuit, I then get a taste of a biscuit and I want one the next day, and then I get back into a habit of it. And, you know, it's one of those, isn't it? Whereas if you've got it in your handbag, you'll reach for that. You know, it's just a thought. I
mean, I suppose in a sense, sometimes when I'm at work, because I don't have an allotted break, that's a difficult thing as well as fitting it in. And is that, in a sense, you know, you mentioned you have the fruit, like tea cake. I mean, I suppose in a sense, if I could I have that? Or if I don't have you know, in a sense, that's quicker to eat than sitting eating a salad sometimes. So would that be like classed as my snack then? Or, you know...
I have it as part of my lunch. So I have like a bagel thin, and then sometimes I'll just have tubs, you know, I'll have a tub of tomatoes and a tub of peppers. You know, so I make sure that I've got, you know, like 50% of it is that I'm eating some veg. And then for my protein, I'll have some like Greek yogurt. And then I quite like to just chuck in just a couple of blueberries and mix it together. And so my lunch is quite, although I stick to the plate it method, my lunch is quite split, if that makes sense. But actually that works for me because I'm really not hungry during the afternoon. The only time I'll reach for a snack is when I'm at one of the sporting events that I seem to permanently be at. And I know that I'm going to have a really big gap, and I know that I'm just going to reach for something I shouldn't as soon as I get back. I make sure I have that snack when I'm out. If I'm organised, I'll take peppers and some hummus. But if I'm not, and it's just mega mad, I've always got one of those beach bars in my bag as well.
Okay, I'll look at them. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with the beach bars. I absolutely love them. They are, you know, a little bit expensive, but yeah, I think the value of them is pretty decent. What I tend to do as well, is a tip, when I go to like Aldi, they've got some really great stuff for the kids, that is, and they do a lot of the fruits and the veg in a fun size, and that perfect to sort of like take to work and to snack on and stuff like that. So recently I've been addicted to like snack peppers. They're the little fun sized ones just there, but obviously it's empty pack, so I've had mine, but I'm going to do another shop anyway. So they've got stuff like that, like radishes and pears and apples and peppers and things like that. Really, really fantastic just to keep by your desk and just to snack on those as well. And they're really, really great for you. You can just eat them raw. So that's really ideal.
Can I share some advice as well? Because I used to work in a pharmacy, so I never got a break and I never got to sit down, and, you know, I did the whole day without any self-care at all. So what I started doing, because I was training for a marathon at the time, so I needed a lot of food all the time, is I invested in like things like this. So I would have my main lunch in the main compartment. I mean, I take a Shakeology in there as well, but then you've got these smaller compartments on the top. So I used to have that filled with raw carrots, because I would have to sort of just hide around the hatch so customers and patients couldn't see me. So I just quickly grab a carrot and quickly munch on that. I'd have like grapes, I'd have, you know, nuts and things, just anything that was cheap and that was fresh, that's not processed, because that's where now I've fallen into the habit of biscuits and crackers and things that are made, whereas the whole 2B thing and the 80-day obsession thing is the whole foods, isn't it? So it's fresh vegetables and stuff. But something like this that you can just keep at work and just munch away as you're working on. I don't know if that helps.
Yeah, it definitely helps. I've been like really lazy and sort of like not buying whole carrots. I've been buying them chopped already, just so that, you know, for the sake of like 20p, but it just saves me like another 15-20 minutes to sort of like wash and chop all the carrots, and oh god, it just does my head in.
I bought all the frozen fruit, didn't I? All the pre-made stuff, and you're telling me off for not doing it myself.
I know, but it's a raw carrot, isn't it? You know, it's like it's only chopped for you. It's not as if it's been sort of like processed and cooked and then recooked and repackaged and things like that. All it is just that it's already chopped.
Do you know what? In a busy life, I'm all for like, as long as it's like you've just said, Cassie, like the clean foods and you're eating the right stuff. If you can find a cheap where the supermarket have like done it for you, go for it. I'm a bit like that with my Shakeology. The ice cube thing does my head in. I buy a big bag of ice cubes and that's what I use, because it's just so much quicker than doing all these. Pop them out, they fly across the kitchen. 10 minutes later, I'm still on my hands and knees picking them all up. I'm just like, yeah, bag of ice, put it in my Shakeology. If it works, then, you know, go for it. It doesn't matter. As long as you're doing what you're meant to be doing, you know.
Yeah, definitely. I try to sort of like do all the ice cubes because I'm using so many ice cubes at the moment. It's just put them in a big food bag. It's sort of like pop them all out, pop them all in a big food bag, and just leave it at the bottom of the shelf. And that way, just replenish it when you've got like 5 seconds in the kitchen, and you can just grab all the ice cubes as and when you want. Also, been freezing lemon and lime slices. After Cassie was like saying, "Oh yeah, bought these lemon and lime slices," I thought, "Oh, stuff that. I'm just going to buy do my own."
Ben, my toddler now, won't drink from this because he tasted water with fruit in it and just went. Now he drinks from it.
I love that. At least it means he won't keep stealing your water bottle like my child does.
Yeah.
The eldest one's like, I need one. I'm like, no, you don't need one. This is yours. And he's like, yeah, but it's not the same.
Fantastic. So obviously, we're making progress with Plate It and what we're eating and being conscious about that. But it's also about the mindset, about the ongoing relationship with the foods and how you're understanding and how you're getting on with it. So has that changed for you, like in terms of your behavior with your food, and are you making more conscious effort to sort of like decide what you're eating and when you're eating, and also do you feel like, oh, I really shouldn't have that, I should eat this, so I'm feeling a little bit guilty, so I won't eat that? Does anyone else experience that at the moment?
Yeah, I spent years being really good, having a really good relationship with food. So that I never felt guilty having a chippy tea. I never felt guilty having them because I was good 90% of the time. But since I work, since I'm no longer competing and racing and stuff, I developed a very negative. As soon as I feel depressed, all I want to do is eat crap. When I'm feeling bad, I say to my husband, I really want a chippy tea, but I don't just want a chippy tea. I want fish, chips, sausage, mushy peas, and gravy. And even though I'm full, I'll eat the whole thing because it's my self-sabotage. It's the only thing that I'm in control of at the moment. I can't tell if they're going to be in a good mood one day from the next, or how much sleep I'm going to get, or if I'm going to get my assignment in on time. There's so many things that I'm not in control of at the moment, and food is the only thing. So I've noticed the past 3-4 weeks since I bought To Be Mindset, and since I'm using the book, not the app. The app for some reason isn't working for me, but the book, having that physically in front of me and tracking it, I'm actually going, yeah, I've had 3 takeaways this week. And I've spotted the pattern of the negativity. So this past 3 weeks, and definitely, I've turned a corner.
Good.
So I'm no longer going, like last night, I was starving. Well, I wasn't starving. I was bored. It was 9 p.m. and I was about to order a Domino's pizza. This is for myself. A Domino's pizza, a garlic bread, and some chicken strippers. And I didn't. I didn't at all. Instead, I ate a pepper.
That is impressive. Very good. I like that. I mean, I think sometimes, and you're so right, it's like self-sabotage, isn't it? I used to do it all the time. It would be a case of I'd have a bad day, or like you say, I'd be absolutely tired or really fed up about something, and I'd eat something that I shouldn't eat. And then from that point onwards, I'd think, well, I've done it for the day now. So the whole day would just be me eating stuff that I just wouldn't not usually eat, just a load of crap. So I'm like, it's the whole day now, it's gone. Whereas I think now with like To Be Mindset, yes, I'll have a treat if I want a treat. My favourite thing for a treat at the moment is the dark chocolate bouncy bars. I love them. You can't get them anywhere apart from Spar, very annoying, but anyway. But they're my thing. I keep them in the freezer. And my mindset very much now is like to stick to the To Be Mindset. But if I'm really craving something I want, I'll have that bounty. I'll track it, but I don't feel guilty for it because the rest of the day I've been doing what I should be doing. I've been eating what I should be eating. So that is my treat. and that's fine, and I've tracked it, and let's see what it does the next day. Well, as before, I would have definitely been more like, well, you know, there's a big bar of dairy milk in the fridge and I can have a big bar of dairy milk, so if I'm gonna have something bad, I'll just have a bag that's massive. I've kind of changed, my mindset's totally changed, going, yeah, have a treat, but have a normal treat that probably isn't going to affect the scales in the same way that completely going off it all day is going to affect the scales.
Fantastic. Do you have any treats still?
Yeah, I suppose in a sense that's kind of what I'm learning with it, in the sense is that if you want to have something, have it. I mean, my mindset has changed. I will think about something first. I'm not saying all the time, like yesterday with that thing, nothing could have stopped me from eating that chocolate in the car because I was hungry. But I do think about things a bit more, because in a sense, it's like what you said, Cassie, is that we spend a lot of our time, many years, sabotaging ourselves. And it is us really that do it. It's quite hard sometimes to get out of that mindset. But this is kind of teaching me that in a sense, because your families and everything you put forward first, you're the last one on the list. But I'm hoping that this is what is teaching me better, in a sense, is that I am just as important. It's taken me a little bit longer, but yeah, I do think of things differently now. Like, we went to my sister-in-law's birthday last night, and you know, they were all having Domino's and Chinese, and got my mother-in-law to make a nice salad, and I only had a spoonful. You know, previously I might have eaten a whole Chinese with them, but I didn't. So, you know, it's I'm not saying I was perfect, because I did have a thin slice of chocolate birthday cake, but not as big as I would have before. But so that's what I quite like, is that you can have them, but you just track it.
Yeah.
So
that's really good. That's really impressive, because that shows how much your mindset's changed.
yeah.
That you didn't go and eat everything that was there. And it's, you know, that's like Alana always says, she's like, have a taste, that's fine, you know, have a tiny bit of what you want, you know, it otherwise you'll crave it, and then by the end of the night you'll just eat all of it, because it'll be like, I've had none of it, I'm restricting myself, I'm saying I can't have it, and as soon as you say I can't have it, you want it even more, don't you? It's a vicious circle. So that's brilliant, that's the perfect way to do it.
Yeah, that's what killed me with ADHD obsession. ADHD obsession, I lost loads of it, didn't I, really, really quickly. But then I got so bored and so frustrated at the amount of hours that I spent. First of all, prepping. Not prepping. First of all, prepare. You know, like coming up with a menu, choosing what meals I had to have 5 times a day, then shopping, then prepping it, and then, you know, and the amount of time and effort it took. I just, by the end of it, I was like, I can't do this. I really can't. Because it does include, you can, it's just not to excess.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's
What's great about the
learning about your mindset.
Oh, sorry, go on.
Go on, Tack.
I was just going to say, and you know, I suppose that's what the 2B mindset is designed for, just so that you can change your habits over time. So they're not just going to change instantly, just because you're doing a brand new workout program. Right, you've got to change everything right now and eat like this. Here's the meal plan, and then by the end of it, when you finish the 8-week program or whatever it was, you're kind of reverting back, thinking, right, I've done that program now, so I don't have to follow that nutrition guide anymore, you know, that sort of thing. Whereas the 2B mindset is ongoing, is pretty much forever. And
this has been put on since 80 Day Obsession.
That'll be gone, it'll be gone, no doubt about it.
Exactly. So you just need to sort of like change the way you look at food, really, and it definitely changes the way I go shopping. You know, my shopping habits have completely changed with regards to what I buy. Just loading the fruit and the veg up in the house as well. It's just so full of like aubergines, Savoy cabbages, Chinese leaf cabbages, you know, and all of peppers and mushrooms and all sorts. So just really trying to bring a lot of colour into your food as well, because you know it's going to be full of nutritional value if it's going to have a lot of colour in your food, rather than what's known as like the grey foods or the microwave foods as well. So just want to avoid all of that. But you know, if you are going to have like a ready meal or whatever, sometimes, you know, I suppose you sometimes can't avoid it. You know, try and get some veg with it as well. So this week had a low calorie what did I have? A king prawn linguine sort of thing, didn't I, Kirsty?
Yeah, because I messaged you. I was like, "Oh, you need to cook me my lunch," and you said, "I brought it in M&S." I'm like, "Right, I need to go there."
Yeah. So I just didn't have time because the night before I was training, and I was working late that evening, had meetings to go to, so didn't have anything the following day. So I just went to M&S, got something relatively healthy in the healthy section, and just bought a pack of tender broccoli, just stick it in the microwave for a minute, and instantly half the plate is just full of veg. So it's really, really great.
Perfect. You just change it to your situation, don't you? You know, what situation you are, you've just always got in the back of your head, right, if I'm going to choose that, just shove a load of veg with it. So that's fab.
Yeah. So I was just going to say, actually, the kind of treat that I tend to have is I love sweet things. I've got a real sweet tooth. I know that, Kirsty, you're asking about it, but it's this stuff, which is, I don't know if you can see or not, but it's sugar-free, gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, kosher, caramel syrup. So add a couple of teaspoons of that into either my coffee, if I'm just going to drink coffee, but no more than once a day, but definitely with my Shakeology added with coffee, milk and ice cubes, almond milk that is, and it tastes just like the Starbucks caramel frap. It is absolutely amazing. So if you do find this, it's not that expensive. It's only about £3 or £4. It's really, really nice if you've got a sweet tooth as well. And they've got like different flavoured ones as well.
Ooh, yum. I'm definitely going to look for that. Did you just get it in the supermarket?
No, I bought it from like a little fitness shop that sells like protein and stuff like that. But you can easily order it online as well, like bulk pounds, I think it is, or I don't know. It's like you can Google it. It's Walden Farms Near Zero caramel flavoured syrup. So good stuff.
Thank you.
Cool. I mean, that covers most of the topics of what we wanted to talk about. But just to hand it over to Kirsty for the To Be Healthy start of the week.
Yeah, our star of the week this week is Claire Graham. She couldn't jump on the call today because she's working, but she, over the last couple of weeks, has had some real things thrown at her. One of the weeks, both the cars ended up failing their MOTs, and they had, between her and her husband, they didn't have a car, so she was walking everywhere. But it also meant she couldn't go and do a big food shop, so she was just grabbing stuff from, the local store as she went along. And I was so impressed with her because she did like so many steps, it was ridiculous. But not just that, she lost 2.5 pounds that week. And that really would have been a stressful week for anybody. Do you know what I mean? And your mindset could have totally turned to, just grabbing a load of rubbish and going, it's just one of those weeks, I'm going to write it off. And she totally didn't. So I was so impressed with her. And then this week as well, she's had some allergy tested, and it's come back that she's allergic to quite a few main foods, like peppers, and I think coffee was one of them. And there was like quite a few things. And I just loved the way that her message came across, because she was telling me about it, but she was like, well, I'm looking for all these different foods and I'm going to work out some alternatives. And she's really kind of taken it in her stride and embraced it. And she's now looking at all the different things that she could have. And I had a chat with her as well because, one of my sons has allergies and things. So it's looking at different types of foods that you can have and things like that. But I've just been really impressed with her that in the face of adversity with things that have gone on, she's just powered through and got on with it, and just really proud of her, to be honest. So I think she totally deserves it.
Yeah, good for her.
So well done.
Congratulations. Definitely overcoming some adversity there, and still sticking with it, and really going for, still being conscious of food choices and things like that. So well done.
And if anybody watching it, or anybody comes up with any ideas, of alternatives to dairy, or I think she couldn't have chocolate as well, so maybe like something that's sweet that she can have that's not, that's not that. And feel free to post any ideas on the page as well. I'm sure she'll be grateful of them.
Yeah, fantastic. So just want to say thanks very much for joining us this week. Kirsty will be hosting next week. Chris and I won't be here, unfortunately. We'll try and make it, but I'll probably be in the middle of the night. So, but thanks for joining us, guys, and have a good week. Enjoy the rest of the week with your meal choices.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.